Coming to next question, sir, which I really wanted to ask you, because I have seen you really talked about it a lot, and you kind of advocates for it, basically. So the question is around platform engineering, sir. So how it is and how really it should be. Do you think people are doing it correctly in current environment, or what changes would you suggest to make?
So whenever we go to somebody uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with our product build piper, they generally try to slot us against, let's say, GitHub Actions, or
Mm-hmm.
let's say against Argo CD, and
Mm-hmm.
that is absolute misunderstanding about our product. So
Mm-hmm.
build piper is actually a it is actually a platform engineering tool. But
Mm-hmm.
what is a platform engineering tool? It is absolutely new terminology. If you go to Google and search platform engineering, you would get different kinds of answers. But that this is
Mm-hmm.
something, a segment which is getting created, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, we are sort of envisioning it in a very different fashion. It's a very different manner. What we are saying is, let's say, whenever you are building your product, you should have a very good central catalog, software catalog management, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your different teams? What are the different services in each team? What is the quality maturity of those services? What is the overall maturity of your company? So, there is a software catalog which is telling you your current state. So, any CXO can come, look at the catalog, look at the maturity, what is the current code which is deployed, what is the current code which is built, etc., etc. All those details. Then second is agile governance. So generally what people do is they use Jira or some other tool, ITSM tool for agile management, and they use Jenkins or some other tool for delivery. Now they are not integrated with each other. So technically anybody can go and do deployment in production and not have any approval on Jira. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way you could stop them from doing it, or there will be a lot of scripts which will be used to maybe put some gate checks. Still somebody can circumvent it, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
build piper has a very seamless integration with Jira, ServiceNow, create and ensure that you have complete end-to-end change management done very well without even anybody creating a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gets created automatically by build piper, etc. So the complete agile governance piece is done very well, very well in our product. So that is another area. Then infra governance is another area which is very critical, very well serviced in the market. So when you say infra governance, you would want to have a certain quality of
No,
certain
go ahead, sir. Go
quality
ahead.
of
We are good.
uh, there'll be certain quality of uh, code you should write for infra. Then there should be certain security checks which should be there for infra, and cost checks also. Somebody can launch a very large machine for an LLM processing and then forget about it, by the way. Now
Mm-hmm.
that cost is being incurred by the company. I've heard some CTOs tell that people were creating very large machines to do some LLM analysis and they were forgetting to switch it off, or we wanted to put some governance around it. This cost governance, because cloud is so easy to use, with great power comes great responsibility. So you
Exactly.
also have to be very careful about using it. So that all those pieces are there in the product, by the way. So that is another area. Then you want to have org wise standardization, right? You want to have compliance, you want to have security, and it should be standard across the organization. Now if you have
Mm-hmm.
Jenkins scripts, you have so many pipelines, let's say 100 pipelines. How do you ensure that every pipeline is compliant? But in our product, for one team there needs to be only one pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
because the pipeline does just the workflow. How build happens, how deployment happens is configured in the service, not in the pipeline. So you have one pipeline and you have one template. That template decides what happens during build, what happens during deployment. So if you want to embed some checks, you have to change it in one place. So I was talking to a very large enterprise, so I asked them, if you today want to introduce check marks in your complete organization, how much time will it take? So he was smiling. I would say it will at least 6 months for you to do it, right? For using build piper, it takes a minute to do it. And you could gradually migrate people to the new template. The old template can be phased off, and you can have reporting as to who is still using old template, and then coerce them to use the new template. And that is what it takes in terms of effort. Whereas if you are having fragmented release processes, you have to go in every instance of Jenkins, make the changes, or every instance of pipeline, etc. So it's a complex. So what I'm trying to tell you is, a platform which is enabling you to deliver your software has to be so mature that it eliminates the maximum amount of sweat that people do to ensure think they can do standardization. And once that is there, it becomes so easy to navigate and make everybody comfortable. They can do their debugging, shift left is possible, everything is possible. So there are some levers around which we have built the product, and that is what we call platform engineering. It's very, very important that the ops should be invisible ops. So it's very important. It's a very important terminology, that your DevOps team should be not talking to anybody. They should be developing the platform, which should be the visible part where people should work, come and work, interact with. And if there are any problems, they report problem in the platform, and the platform is fixed. Then your developers are enabled. There is no cycle time wastage. There is no dependency, no bottleneck like that. Sandeep, over to you.
Sure, sure. Maybe I can talk about one of my, let's say, experience, or let's say understanding that I built over past 2 years, right? So
Hmm.
see, what I have seen is that when we talk about platform engineering, it's not a simple solution, right? It is not a very simple automation. It is a product in itself, right? Now,
Exactly, sir.
let's say if a company decides to build a product, then obviously they want to have those dedicated people and working on that particular platform over a period of time. In my experience, what I have seen, and I have some examples there, where let's say a certain company who has a product, right? Now they started building, let's say, a platform for themselves, but then it took them for the 2 or 3 years. But as you know, Sandeep, a lot of iteration is there, right? And then with the people going, that knowledge gets lost, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
When that knowledge gets node, then you are in a limbo state, right? You cannot
Yes.
move forward, you cannot move backward. This is of kind of a challenge that I have seen. So let's say if as a company you want to build a platform by yourself, it's a very good
Hmm.
thing to do, because ultimately we are all solving tech. But then this is one of the biggest challenge that you should always plan for, that
Hmm.
let's say as a product company you create contingency for your product team as well. But let's say
Hmm.
when you decide to build up another product for solving your platform challenges, it has to be taken as another product only. And then all the uh, let's say innovation that you're doing, investment that you're doing, you have to keep track of that. Typically, I've seen that company misses that. And then
Hmm.
after some time, that question of ROI comes into the picture.
Hmm.
Let's say when you buy a product, that ROI question comes from day zero. But
Yes,
when
yes.
as a company you start building a platform, that never comes into the picture. But after 3 years, 4 years, then that ROI question starts coming into the picture. And that's where a lot of company then get into that soul searching. So
Hmm.
that is another very important decision that a company should